Hey everyone, welcome to the top 10 list. Welcome to my top 10 favorite romance movies of the decade from 2010 to 2018. Yes, I love doing these genre top 10 lists for each decade and stuff. I've done it for animated films, my favorite films, my least favorite films, sci-fi films, and all that stuff. And I thought it would be a lot of fun to do romance films. Yeah, romantic movies. Yes, I'm a bit of a romantic myself. That's what I tell myself every night. I lie to myself. Anyways, romance films. Yes, I haven't really talked about a lot of romance films, so I thought it would be cool to do my top 10 favorite romance films from each decade, leading to my favorite romance films of all time. Yes, I'm also going to be doing another genre for each decade. In my next video, you'll see which genre I'm going to be picking, but for this video, it's romance films. So yeah, this is romance films. This is romance films. Man, God, I'm trying to talk. This is romance films of this decade. So let's get to it. Here's my top 10 favorite romance films of this decade from 2010 to 2018. And for top 10 lists, you gotta have your honorable mentions. And my honorable mentions are The Fault in Our Stars, The Fault in Our Stars, Crazy Stupid Love, Carol, Warm Bodies, About Time, Late Crazy, Enough Said, The Big Sick, and Beginners. All great films. Just gonna make the top 10 list, but didn't make my top 10 was my number 10. My number 10 is a fantastic and not overrated musical, which is La La Land. La La Land. This Best Picture winner of 10 Minutes is such a great film, written and directed by Damien Chazelle, starring Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, who work amazing together as usual. Even in a shitty movie like Gangster Squad, they're great in it together and just natural chemistry. La La Land is a musical, but it's also a romance. It's a romantic film about these two people falling in love and stuff. They're in Los Angeles, Hollywood. He wants to be a jazz musician, and she wants to be an actress, and they connect in this amazing, cool, groundbreaking musical with amazing cinematography, great art direction, fantastic performances by Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, who won the Oscar, Damien Chazelle's direction, the way he does the musical numbers, with the amazing tracking shots he uses. It also has a very bleak and very realistic ending, and yeah, it's a great film. It's a great musical, but it's also a great romance. Coming in number 9 is Midnight in Paris. Midnight in Paris is a very romantic film in other ways than most people would think. This is not a straight romantic comedy. It's mostly a comedy about a guy named Gil who wants to write a book about an antique shop, a nostalgia shop and stuff, and he's obsessed with the 1920s of Paris. And then he basically time travels to the 1920s and meets all his idols like Gertrude Stein and Ernest Hemingway and the Fitzgeralds and stuff, and he falls in love with Marion Cotillard and stuff, and she's this very beautiful woman and stuff, and she's almost with Pablo Picasso and everything, and yeah, it's a romance between him and her, but it's also a romance between the character in Paris. It is a romance film because he's in love with literature and he's in love with this city of Paris. So it's a romance film between two characters, but it's also a romance film between a man in this country and his book and his love of literature and everything. So the romance genre is not just between people, but of things and places and what people see and everything. And so it's a very deep and layered romance story, which I absolutely love. It's written and directed by Woody Allen. I think it's his masterpiece. I think he did an amazing job. It's a wonderfully written film with great performances by everyone, especially Owen Wilson, who does a great job. And yeah, absolutely love this film. Coming in number 8 is The Spectacular Now. The Spectacular Now has Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley, almost blanked on her name. Fantastic romance story. It's a great coming-of-age story about these two high school kids, and they fall in love. She's more of like a nerdy, educated person, and he's basically an alcoholic. He's a 17-year-old who has a drinking problem, and he also almost makes her almost an alcoholic like him and stuff. He's almost turning out just like his father. His motive in the movie is to live in the now. He doesn't care about his future. He wants to have fun and wants to live in the now, hence the title, The Spectacular Now. Everything is spectacular if you live just in the now. That is his motto of life and stuff. And it's a fantastic and very layered story with great performances. Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley both have great chemistry. The side characters, Kyle Chandler, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, are all great. James Ponsoldt directed this film and did a really good job. It's just a very brutal film, very heart-wrenching third act. It just, yeah, love it. Coming in number 7 is Moonrise Kingdom. Moonrise Kingdom is my favorite Wes Anderson film, and I love Wes Anderson films. I love Rushmore, Fantastic Mr. Fox, The Grand Budapest Hotel, The Royal Tenenbaums. He's a great filmmaker. I love all his films. As long as it's not a mediocre film like Darjeeling Limited or a terrible film like The Aquatic Life of Steve Zissou. All his films are great, and this is his best, in my opinion. This is such a great, funny, dramatic, potent film, and it's a brilliant love story about these two kids. These kids are like 12 years old, and they have such a great romance with each other. He runs away from his scout camp, and he runs away with her, takes her away to the forest, and they basically want to live their lives in the woods. And it's up to Edward Norton, who's the head of the Scouts. He sends his troops to go get the kid, and Bill Murray and Frances McDormand are the parents, and they're trying to send the police, played by Bruce Willis, to go get them and stuff. Tilda Swinton's in the film. She plays this like child service agent and stuff. And yeah, this is just a great, very, again, quirky, potent, comedic film. Wonderfully directed, beautifully shot, a great romantic story with great performances all around. Moonrise Kingdom, love it. Coming in number 6 is a very weird choice that people are going to be like, what? What? But yeah, I consider it a romance film. In a way. That's Deadpool. Yeah, Deadpool. Yeah, that's why I wore the red shirt, so bad guys can't see me bleed. Deadpool. Deadpool is a great romantic story. And if you guys don't believe that it's a romance story, Deadpool himself in the film says that it's a romantic love story. He even says this is not a brutal story. It's a love story. It's a love story between Wade Wilson and his girlfriend, played by Maria Bakarin. And yeah, yes, it's a superhero film, and it's a bloody action film, and a great breaking the fourth wall comedic film, very crude, raunchy film, but it is also a love story between Wade Wilson and this girl that he meets. They're basically like two peas in a pod. They basically are the same person, but female version and stuff, and they absolutely love each other. But then he gets cancer, and he wants to cure his cancer, but then when he gets involved with Ajax and stuff, they kidnap her, and it's up to him to save his girl and everything, and he doesn't believe that she would love him because he is so hideous and ugly and everything. It's actually a very modern story of Beauty and the Beast and stuff. It's very lovely, and it's a great film. It's funny, it's action-packed, it's kick-ass. Tim Miller did an amazing job. Ryan Reynolds is born to play Deadpool and shit like that, but it's also a love story. Coming in number 5 is another 2016 film, and that is Sing Street. Sing Street is more of a romance film. This is, yes, a movie about music. It's a comedic, dramatic film about a kid starting a band, and the only reason he starts a band is to impress a girl, because he wants to put a girl in his video, Riddle of the Bottle. Just, yeah. And it's a love story. He writes all his songs for her and everything. It's a very beautiful love story between these two characters, and yeah, it's great. And how the movie ends is absolutely beautiful, and this is a great film. I love John Carney, I love his films, and I love what he did with this film. The songs are beautiful and lovely, these characters are enjoyable, it's a great coming-of-age story, a great movie about starting a band and falling in love, just chasing your dreams, and yeah, it's so good. It's Sing Street. Coming in number 4 is a film that came out just, well, last year. I keep want to say this year, but it's 2018 now, but it came out last year, and that's Call Me By Your Name. Call Me By Your Name is, it's upsetting that this movie is taking no awards lately. Critics' Choice, Golden Globes has barely won a goddamn thing. I hope it gets some Oscar love. This is a great film. What Luca Guadagnino did with this film was amazing. Armie Hammer, Timothy Chalamet, Michael Stolberg, all great. It's a great story. It's a great story about these two men, these homosexuals and stuff, and there's a big age difference, and it takes place in Italy and stuff, and yeah, it starts off almost like a hate relationship, then they grow to love and respect each other, and it's a very beautiful love story. It's a very chilled story, which I love. It's just them hanging out in Italy with each other and getting to know each other and spending time with each other. It's so great. It's so wonderful and so friggin' lovely. It's wonderfully acted. It's beautifully shot. It's so relaxed. Absolutely love everything about Call Me By Your Name. It was one of my favorite films of last year, and it's so good. Coming in number 3 is another romance film that came out last year, and I liked it just as much as I did Call Me By Your Name, and that's The Shape of Water. The Shape of Water is written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, and it's a love story between a mute woman and a fish-like creature played by Doug Jones. And no, he is not Abe from Hellboy 1 and 2, which would be cool and an awesome prequel story, but it's a great story about this woman, and basically she doesn't know what love and connection is, but then she finds that out, but she has this connection with this creature who has feelings like a human being and stuff, and they communicate with sign language and stuff, and it's beautiful, it's lovely, it's wonderfully directed. Sally Hawkins is amazing, Doug Jones is amazing, Octavia Spencer, Richard Jenkins, Michael Stolberg again, Michael Shannon is a terrifying villain in the film. Just a wonderfully directed film, and yeah, just a good love story. Coming in number 2 is my favorite Jim Jarmusch film, and probably one of the best vampire stories out there, and a proper vampire love story, and that is Only Lovers Left Alive. Only Lovers Left Alive stars Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston, also Bino Wasikowska, Anton Yelchin, John Hurt and stuff, and great film. This is such a relaxed, atmospheric film, very brutal film, very dark and realistic. It's basically a love story about this husband and wife, and they're both vampires. They live separate from each other, but then they finally get to see each other. They connect with each other, but then her sister comes and ruins all that shit for them. It's a fantastic, very relaxed film. Just like Call Me By Your Name. It's such a chilled and relaxed film, and I love every second of Only Lovers Left Alive. It just feels so great, so mesmerizing. It's beautifully shot, wonderfully atmospheric. Jim Jarmusch did a fantastic job. It's my favorite Jim Jarmusch film. It is so well done, and it's my second favorite romance film of this decade. And my number 1 favorite romance film of this decade from 2010 to 2018 is Before Midnight. Yes, Before Midnight, written and directed by Richard Linklater, also co-written by Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke. Starring Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke is the 3rd installment of the Before trilogy. A trilogy everyone knows that I've gone just gaga over. This is such a beautiful film. These two characters, I love the romance between these two people. This is Jesse and Celine. They're back. They're married after the second one. They have kids. They're in Greece vacationing. And they talk about each other. He wants his son back. He wants to get custody of his son. But the only way to do that, he has to move to the United States. And he wants to talk about it with her. But then she wants to stay in Paris where they live and stuff. They basically talk about their relationship, their kids, their family, their friends. They also talk about movies, art, and all that stuff. This is a straight dialogue-filled film, and I love it. I love every second of it. I love the whole trilogy as a whole, and this one is just a great installment with a great, realistic relationship, wonderful performances. Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke have natural, amazing chemistry with each other. The way the movie ends is just so freaking good. All these movies feel like you're just in these moments with these characters, in this situation with them, and it's absolutely brilliant. The way it's structured and executed and directed is absolutely mesmerizing, and again, this is romance done properly. And Before Midnight did it so well, and it's hands down, I think, the best romance film I've seen this entire decade, and yeah, number 1. So yeah, that was my top 10 favorite romance films of this decade from 2010 to 2018. So yeah, in the comment section below, please tell me, what are your top 10 favorite romance films of this decade so far? It's not over yet, but so far, what is your favorite romance films that came out this decade? Comment below, let me know. And as always for this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.